Wait. What's this about new Kirby game? Is it Air Riders? I thought I saw something about that. Hello, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, and evening. How's it going? It's Dee Dee. Hello. Hi, Jambola. Hi, Ranger. Hi, Nier. Hi, Zon. Ooh. Good old Kirby air ride. Air Riders. Back in the day. When are we gonna get a new Kirby platformer, though? How long has it been since... What was it? Lost World? Oh, Forgotten Land. That's what it was. $2022? 3 years? I feel like 5 years for a Kirby game is pretty normal. They don't really prioritize curbs. It's getting an expansion. Well. Hi, Tsubaki. You missed the Chibi Ahoge. I go. We have 3 conversations going on in chat. Oh my god, there's tears in my eyes. If you don't know what Ahegao is, good. You don't want to know. If you don't know, that means you're not a huge weeb, and that is probably a good thing. Isn't that the hair thing? That's a hoge. If there's an A in it, that is a hentai thing. Yeah, Tsumaki typoed, so I was having a cackle about that. How was my day? Day was day. I was up late playing Star Rail's new story last night, so I'm eepy, but day was day. You swear you had it? Not on this model. On the Chibi I do, and on my upcoming one, I believe I do. Duolingo. Nope. My new one doesn't either. It's only Chibi D that has the Dwayne. It's a Cowlick in English and a Hoge in Japanese. So a lot of a lot of Japanese fans, a lot of anime fans just call it a Hoge. through this. So if you spell ahoge out a kanji, it's aho, and then the kanji for like fur/hair. So literally, it's stupid hair. I guess the implication is like your hair is being dumb, or you're dumb for not being able to keep your hair in order. I don't know. Interesting though. I thought it was like something to do with it being like a spike, like sticking straight up, because toge is like spike. That's why Togedemaru, the Pokemon, is Togedemaru. The Hachime Hinata antenna. Yeah, the RC car control. That's how he gets his signals. They say if you're in an area with bad cell service, hold your phone close to Hinata, and you'll get one more bar. Whenever you watch my Danganronpa streams, thanks for watching that. We need to go back to Danganronpa 3. I had it on the schedule, and then I forget why I had to cancel it, but I did. We need to go back. It's been a while. My controller malfunctioning meant we have to redo the trial, so I was like, I know! Sir? I do schedules every 2 weeks now. You've made your points. You've made your point. You're gonna have to wait until next week or the week after at the earliest to get Delta Root, okay? Y'all don't need to remind me of these games. I know what I haven't played in a while. Maybe not the exact number of weeks, but I know it's been a while. You're not being annoying. I get it. I also pestering Duna for when she's like, I need to catch up on this story update for this gacha game. I'm like, please, can you? I waited a whole year for Iduna to catch up on the Honkai Star Rail plots. I was like, oh my god, I have waited so long for this. It do be like that sometimes, yeah. It's like, oh, how dare you have stuff going on in your life that means you didn't have time to play like 7 gacha games like I do. Unacceptable. If I'm being annoying, please annoy me back. Literally, every time I tell, how dare you be employed and have a life, right? Every time I talk to Iduna, because, like, at this point, I just like trying out new gacha games. Some of them I stick with, some of them I don't, but I'm always on the lookout for new ones to try. Especially when I'm, like, stuck at the apothecary and it's a slow day, and I don't really have anything to do. Because, like, I'm all caught up on stuff and I'm waiting for, like, return phone calls or, like, clients to show up or whatever. So I like having a variety of stuff that I can mess around with. So every time I download a new gacha game, and I'm telling Iduna about it, I'm like, I know you don't need another game, but here's what's cool about this one. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. She must know I'm talking shit about her. You quit when FTO introduced pity system? Really? I still dabble with FTO. Mostly I come back when the events are interesting. Because, I mean, I still love FTO, but it's not a game that's fun to play every day. If you want it, oh god. It's okay. I can barely manage one FTO account. I can't manage multiples. You have NP5 Summer Musashi. Oh my god. That's crazy. If I'm not here tomorrow or Thursday, you go pick up Bella. Bella returns! Oh my gosh, she wasn't even in Japan for a full week. That poor girl, she is going to be so jet-lagged. Rest in peace, that poor girl. NP11! How'd you manage that? I feel bad for her. God, no kidding. I hope she manages to sleep okay when she's back. It's gonna... the jet lag and everything's gonna kick her ass. Oh, man. Because, yeah, most people I know who have gone to Japan will be like, oh yeah, you really gotta go for like at least 10 days because you're gonna spend like 2 or 3 just like adjusting, because for most people it's A, a really long flight, and then B, the time zones are significant. Mandatory 1 week break from work to get her mental clock realigned. Oh, well, that's good at least. That's at least considerate. I mean, it's still gonna, it's nice to have. It still sucks when you're gonna feel like something just, like you got mugged in an alley, basically. You're League 9 League of Legends, huh? I didn't know we had any Moonbeams who played the League except for Zexu. Job is run by a nice company, makes you happy she's being taken care of mentally. That is nice, yeah. Because, yeah, so many people in jobs where you travel a lot, you manage okay-ish because you're still young. And then, like, a lot of those people, like, somewhere around 24, 25, like, their body just hits a wall, so to speak. Sort of like how a lot of people manage to do, like, night shift for years and years, and then just suddenly one day, the body's like, no, we can't do this anymore. And, like, literally falls apart. Yeah. Taking the boats, like, travel by boat, not ideal, but at least you didn't get the jet lag from that, because it was a much slower voyage. Gladly do night shifts any day of the week? Nuh-uh, man, I never could. Look at this mean cat lady. What am I being mean about now? Is it because I said I didn't know we had Moonbeams that played a League except for Zexu? That wasn't me being mean, that was just me stating facts. Once your body cannot handle night shifts anymore, I'll retire. What do you mean, whatever? Rude. What's up, Ranger? What's up? Alrighty. I'm gonna whoop. do. Now I gotta get the audio. Sometimes it's weird. Come on. Anyway, hold on. Let me try this again. My mushrooms are now unevenly chopped. Oh no. Rest in peace. There we go. Now the audio should be good. BBR. Still mad from yesterday? Wait, what? What? I didn't do anything to you yesterday. I wasn't online yesterday. No. Time to execute them all with the meat mincer? Oh no. Poor mushrooms. Alright, so our good boy Battler. We're in, like, what is it, Purgatorio? Our boy's trying to figure out what the heck is going on. I see. So she's not a witch, but a mistress named Beatrice who lived on the island. So there can be more than 18 people. Well, she can be a witch and a mistress, which means I can defeat the line of reasoning that says any crime impossible for all 18 people must involve magic. Dinner preparation when Ranger Crime Mushroom Arc. That is quite the statement. That's big scoop. It's a big scoop. Die scoop. Pardon me. I'm the guy that looks like a walking sexual assault case. Like a walking HR violation. It's the mustache. It's the mustache. I have yet to see a character with a mustache like that was not guilty of some kind of crime. It's just the way of the world. No Saber today either. Keep trying. There's still no end date. 154 in Sag. You will soon. William Shakespeare? Wait, Fate's William Shakespeare? Or... because I'm pretty sure that guy is also a walking HR violation. Pardon me, Papler Summer. Would you like some black tea and cookies? Vieto's butler, who called himself Romanov. Chinese mythology, Shakespeare. Shakespeare is not a Shota at FGO. You're thinking Hans Christian Andersen. Shakespeare in FGO is an annoying, ginger. Who in the what? Don't worry about it, Ranger. Chinese mythology, Shakespeare. Remember, Tsumaki is the king of messing with us. Don't take what they say too literally. plate set on a silver tray that he held was filled with delicious-looking steaming black tea and cookies. I really don't like this guy's smile. For some reason, it doesn't look like a smile used to warmly greet a guest. It feels like he's mocking me somehow. I mean, yeah, that would be about right. This guy looks like he should be... Okay, this is like a really, really, really niche Seiyu fangirl thing. This guy looks like he should be voiced by Miki Shinichiro. That's the guy who voiced Assassin in Fate. Also the guy who voiced James from Pokemon in Japanese. I don't know if he really takes me for an idiot or if it's just a joke or something, but it's really irritating me. I don't need any. I'm busy now. Leave me alone. Oh my, such a shame, and the cookies were so delicious too. Cooked so wonderfully they would be wasted on a mere human. I'll eat some when I feel like it. Just set it down somewhere and get out of here. Will that be acceptable? Then I shall do so. You may eat them when they get cold and stale, and then regret to the fullest that you did not eat them while they were fresh. You really are annoying. Well, you're a lot better than Mieto, who keeps doing that creepy cackle right next to my ear. Yes, that is quite true. There are times when Milady's laughter becomes quite undignified. They really shit-talking Mieto to her back. Every time I hear it, I find it painful to comprehend why such a noble demon as myself must serve such a master. Man, you're weird. If you don't like it, then couldn't you just not work for her? That's not what a demon contract is, my boy. And yet, to continue serving is furniture's joy. And if we did not... Oh, what was it? If we do not serve, we would hardly be furniture. Setting that aside, how has the game been proceeding? Just now, you seem to have found some useful information that quite pleased you. Hey, no spying! Well, now I wonder what your shallow wit has conjured up. As Romanov mocked me and giggled. He followed my earlier words literally and placed the black tea and cookies in a random spot. In any case, it appears you are now more confident in the existence of a 19th person, yes? Would you be gracious enough to allow me to hear your opinion? Yeah, sure. I'm just gonna say it again in front of Bieto anyway. No reason to hide it. Basically, it looks like there's a hidden mansion somewhere on this island, and that grandfather had his mistress live there. Crazy. So the question that's been torturing me about whether there are 18 or 19 people can be easily resolved. There are 20! Source? Me. Trust me, bro. I wouldn't steer you wrong. You have driven yourself into a corner because of the dead end that you yourself created. I trust you. Thanks, Zon. My source is I made it up. I made it up. It's my world. I make the rules. Is it making it up when you make the rules? I don't know. Food for thought. Even though you deny the witch, Battler-sama, you hold a double standard and refuse to accept that the culprit is one of the 18. Well, I mean, kind of sucks to think that, like, you're related to a murderer. The easiest way to deny the witch would be to suspect one of the 18. It isn't easy to gather alibis for every one of them. You always find at least one person with a fragile alibi. I could probably continue to deny the witch forever if I just used that person as a scapegoat. However, I refuse to do that. Why? Because I like being difficult. It's useless, it's useless, I'm useless. No, wait, I'm not useless, it's useless. Every one of those 18 people is either a parent, a relative, or a cousin to me. And those reliable servants who are sometimes serious and sometimes fun to be with. I won't let myself use any one of them as a scapegoat. In the past, my resolve wavered. Waver? Fate Stay Night waver? That's how Beato hit me where my heart was weak. Accepting and understanding one's own weakness. It is not something that can be often accomplished. Butler Summa, you use this theory about a 19th person as a spear. Or should I say, a shield? Could be both. In any event, in contrast to how unprepared you were in the previous games. The fact that you now have a compass bearing on how to fight. Is a dramatic leap forward, I must say. With this, you can suspect a 19th person and pursue your theory that the culprit is a human, without having to doubt any of the 18 you love and respect. How convenient. That's it exactly. Like in the first game, when Kanonkan was killed in the boiler room. There were plenty of tricks I could have mentioned without hesitation as long as a 19th person existed. In the very first game, Kanonkan was killed in the boiler room. One might think he was attacked by Kumasawa-san, who had gone down into the boiler room with him. Or maybe that someone who had appeared to be dead earlier was actually faking it and ambushed him. Either way, it was a move that forced me to suspect one of the 18. However, by simply proposing that a 19th person existed, there was no longer any need to suspect one of the 18 for that murder in the boiler room. In short, I can at least deny the line of reasoning saying that if something is impossible for every one of the 18, therefore the culprit is a witch. Using this argument is easy to explain, for example, the problematic case that has already occurred in this game. Who gave Maria the letter? Even if all 18 people have alibis, I could easily explain everything by saying that a 19th person must have visited her and given her the letter. Naruhodo. I'd say that's quite a good move. Now, how would I strike back against it? You still have plenty of weak points, even if you are aware of them. Maybe the 18th person attack would be an effective move. The 18 people attack! We come at you with 18 people. To judge the strength of your defense, it may be amusing to contest that point again. Then how will you do it? Demon Butler? We're on chapter 4, right? No, we're on chapter 3. I had to think for a second, but no. If we were on chapter 4, I would have definitely mentioned that we were just about finished this game. Technically. Because then there's the answer arcs, so we'd be halfway through the entire story. But this particular game would be done. And then I'd have to download part 2. I believe it would be appropriate to ambush the piece representing this 19th person that you mentioned. Battler Sama, you have never met this 19th person, yes? Would you please show some proof that this 19th person exists? How naive. Of course, I knew you'd probably try that move. My. Please respond to it. Give me answer arcs? Aw, that's nice. I would have to post my Steam account to share. I should. Someone remind me so I don't forget, because I don't think I've ever shared my Steam account. Witches and demons and the like. There's no more fitting move for you guys to use. It's one of those. Okay, sure. Sounds good. Sounds good. It's one of those. Woof, 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 devil's proofs. Why does it sound like he did some kind of frickin' like kung fu move while he did this? Witches and demons and the like, there's no more fitting move for you guys to use. It's one of those devil's proofs. When you try to make some claim to humans like us, we always counterattack by telling you to show some proof. Because that's a human move. But I'm fighting with a witch. I'm taking part in a battle with someone who isn't human. And some moves exist that can only be used in a game against a witch. There are cheap moves. Show me your moves. You cheapskate. And that's what this devil's proof is. Because it's impossible to prove. Let's assume that there was a hidden mansion on Rokenjima, separate from the Ushiromiya family mansion. And that a woman named Beatrice lives there. In order to prove this, one must find this mansion and actually bring Beatrice out of it. That's called actual proof in the human world. However, if we follow the rules of the devil's proof, you can't deny that she exists, even if there's no proof that she does. Because it's impossible to prove that something doesn't exist. That's right, I'm finally able to turn the tables using this devil's proof which tormented me so much before. Those guys were always trying to force me to accept the existence of the witch with it. After all, it was physically impossible for me to show any proof that witches don't exist and deny Beato's claims. That's why I kept getting hit with the reckless argument that witches do exist and I was unable to counterattack. And that's why I'll spin the chessboard around right now. He spins the chessboard around so fast the pieces go flying everywhere. Ah! If I can't disprove the existence of witches, then that means if I suggest that a 19th human exists, you can't deny that either. In other words, because this problematic and mysterious mistress is craftily hiding herself, it'd be perfectly natural if you never found her no matter how hard you looked. So you can't say that your inability to find this 19th person proves that she doesn't exist. Therefore, it's impossible to deny the 19th person's existence. Beato used the devil's proof to make denying her own existence impossible. But this time, it's become my weapon. If we can get away with this argument, then forget just the 19th person. This island could be full of people we don't know about. And even if there were 10 or 100 of them, she still couldn't deny that they existed. In the last game, and the one before that, among the murder scenes that showed up, there were several that were extremely intricate and must have taken a lot of effort to set up. It's really hard to imagine a single culprit setting up all of those. However, if not just a 19th person, but 10 or 100 people were hidden somewhere, that wouldn't be any problem at all. If they all split up the work, they could handle any job in a short period of time. Of course, doubts will naturally arise as to whether a large group of people like that could sneak around the mansion without being noticed. But those are all settled by the devil's proof. You can't deny that even 100 people were there just because they weren't seen or noticed. Even though I'm saying it myself, it's such a stupid argument that it makes me want to throw up. However, because it's such a dirty move, it's a perfect one to use against a witch. Well, this is just my imagination. But what if about 100 suspicious men wearing gold masks were hiding in the shadows? Why does this sound like Higurashi all of a sudden? 100 men in gold masks sounds like a Higurashi thing to me. I don't know why. I could just picture a Keiichi running into those on the mountain. Or that's like, one of the Delulus. Something like that's worse than laughable, almost like they're cockroaches. If you see one, it means there's 100 more hiding somewhere. Why that metaphor of all things? Well, I do think it's a ridiculous argument that's horribly twisted. If my opponent were human, I'm sure they'd yell at me like I was out of my mind. But my opponent is a witch. And after all, that's the kind of competition we're having, isn't it? I'll use any kind of reckless argument to explain it using humans and deny the witch. Anyway, with this move, I won't have to doubt any of the 18 who are close to me again. I won't suffer a defeat like last time again. I see. You have learned from your previous defeat. That is good. It's no surprise that you've become so devious now that you're in your third game. You first strengthen your own defense. That is truly a solid first step. Quite a spectacular move, I would say. Well, even if we do assume that there is a 19th person, there are still a few tricks left that I can't resolve, like the actual number of master keys, no matter how many humans I add. Still, it isn't as bad as the first step for the time being. Butler-sama, your trump card is the important piece called the 19th person. You countered my move of asking where the proof was by using the devil's proof. A good skirmish. Although I must apologize for making a move by myself when Milady isn't here. I find that I too am growing slightly interested. I wonder if you will allow me to make yet another move on Milady's behalf. Let's have it. I've got no shortage of opponents, be they witches or demons. This move you presented called the Devil's Proof. It's a speciality of us demons, but there are also various other moves available to us. Do you know of a move called Hempel's Raven? Hempel's Raven? What are you talking about? Oh, here she is. Just then, that enraging laugh I've heard so many times started echoing. The room was filled with dazzling golden butterflies, and in the center of that whirlwind, the golden witch appeared. If it isn't Milady, good morning. I thought you might be doing something interesting while I was away. Hempel's raven, was it? Such a familiar old move, I could almost laugh. To think the day has come when I get to show it off to Battler. It's a classic move to use against a devil's proof. Ronalf, I will make this move. Do not get in the way of my fun. So you finally shown up, you gwaffing witch. I see you're laughing like a freak, just as usual. This guy was talking behind your back just now, telling me how undignified you look when you do that. Right? How rude. Is that true? Nonsense! Why would I speak such gossip about Milady, whom I regard with such sincere respect? I can't believe you'd say something so shameless. I can't believe you actually thought he'd admit to talking about her behind her back. Does it look like we'll be getting along well together? Well, that is fine. Let us return to the point at hand. Hempel's raven is used to show actual proof using the contrapositive. In other words, it's a move like this. What must you do to prove that ravens are black? Huh? What are you talking about? Prove that ravens are black? What, did you just have to catch a raven and check to see if it's black? That's right. You must simply prove that a raven equals black. Do you see that if you instead prove that birds that aren't black equals not a raven, you would reach the same argument? If you go throughout the world and examine all birds that are not ravens and prove that none of them are black, then as a result, you can claim that therefore black birds are ravens. That is called an argument by the contrapositive. Is that too difficult for you? Yeah, no kidding. I've got no idea what you're saying. Oh, Battler. Oh boy, more UMINEKO! Yahoo! More UMINEKO! Hi, Amadis. Battler-sama? What about this example? Let us say that you have two boxes, and one of them is a winner with a cookie inside. Cookies! Of course, the other one is a loser and is empty. For example, here are two boxes, where one has a cookie inside and means you win, while the other is empty and means you lose. At this moment, it has a cookie inside equals you win, which implies that you do not win equals it had no cookie inside. When such a relationship exists, the latter is called the contrapositive. When if A then B is true, then if not B, then not A is also true. Well, that's obvious. If the one you guessed was the loser, then you'd automatically know that the other one was the winner. In other words, if you choose the box at random, whether it's the winner or the loser, you'll be able to figure out which box has the cookie in it after the first move. That is correct. If the cookie is in the box you open, then the devil's proof is satisfied. You can directly prove that this box is the winner equals this box has a cookie in it. Okay, thanks, Nier. However, if the box you open is empty, then the reverse Hempel's raven is satisfied. In other words, this box does not have a cookie in it. Equals this box isn't the winner. Wish you were smart enough to understand this. It's just Schrodinger's cat, isn't it? Until you check, the cat is both alive and dead. And you can't prove one way or the other without opening the box. Therefore, the cat can be in both states. And as long as we accept the premise that there are no more than two boxes, the contrapositive shows that the other box is automatically the winner. Well, I think I'm starting to see your reasoning. Only poison can stop poison, and only twisted logic can stop twisted logic. Then what? How does that overturn my claim that because there's definitely a 19th person hidden on this island, even if all 18 people have alibis, I still won't have to accept witches? Very well. I will teach you about my move. First of all, you are stating that the culprit is not among the 18 equals the culprit is a 19th person. So if you use the contrapositive, it ends up like this. Witches aren't people? The culprit is not a 19th person. Equals the culprit is one of the 18. Huh? What do you mean? Only that I've countered your move. Let's try and keep things simple. Well, now, explain. It seems you've made things easy enough for Battler to understand with your cookie in a box analogy. And then forgive my presumption. Allow me to explain my earlier example once more. Allow me to repeat my earlier story about 2 treasure boxes, one of which has a cookie in it. The box is getting progressively more detailed. Before it was just a box, now it's a treasure box. In this situation, you have an 18th person box and a 19th person box. So the cookie represents the culprit. Battler-sama, let's say you open the 18th person box. Because the cookie is not there, you have paradoxically proven that therefore the cookie is in the 19th person box. Then, let's us make an even more paradoxical claim. Let's us? What? Let us. Whatever, grammar. In other words, if it was first shown that the 19th person box was empty, it would prove at the same time that the cookie is in the 18th person box. Battler-sama played this move in order to avoid having to doubt any of the 18. But it's now been used to prepare an 18 person attack! 18 people coming up, Battler! Ah, what the hell? If I go first and prove that the inside of the 19th person box is empty, you will automatically have to accept that the cookie is in the 18th person box. All I've done is say the other way around, yes? So that move I was so confident in was actually a double-edged sword? That's right! As soon as you played that move and attempted to explain everything with the 19th person, you'd already taken on a risk that you might be forced to accept that the culprit was one of the 18. I see. Hempel's Raven. So this is a countering technique. Wait, if I really think about it, this counter is really disadvantageous for me. This isn't a cookie we're talking about. If I imagine that the loser treasure chest actually has a bomb in it, it gets even clearer. I've said before, but I love the Battler sprite when he's about to lose. You like seeing him in difficult situations. Sadist. And there aren't just 2 treasure chests, but 18 plus 1 more for the 19th person. If you think of it as a total of 19 boxes, it gets even easier to picture. First off, one of the premises of the human culprit theory is that the bomb will definitely be in one of those boxes. It's just specific to Battler? Okay. If you say so. I didn't want to place the bomb in the boxes for any of the 18, so I used the devil's proof and created the 19th person box so I could throw the bomb in there. You gotta lurk? Okay, Nier, take care. That much was fine. But then Bieto struck back. Now, the contents of the 19th person box are empty. That'll automatically mean that the bomb's in one of the 18 boxes. If I could imagine what's inside all 18 of those boxes, then as long as I can show that the bomb isn't in any of them, I'll be able to safely show that the 18 are innocent. Oh, famous last words. If that were possible, I'd have nothing to fear. However, in reality, that'll be almost absolutely impossible. The police wouldn't come here in this typhoon. We don't have access to scientific investigations or experts or anything. In short, we can't prove anything decisively. It'll be impossible for me to find any proof other than simply gulping down whatever alibis each of the 18 give. That means I personally have to prove their innocence, and I have to do it perfectly. Like, by staying with them the whole time, never letting them out of my sight for a second. By doing that, I could probably be sure of that person's innocence. Sure that the bomb isn't in their box. However, in practical terms, that'll be impossible. In other words, I'd have to expend an incredible effort just to check the contents of one box. And there are 18 of them. In other words, unless I bound all 18 of them in chains and watch over them, it'll be impossible to prove that all of them have empty boxes. However, Bieto only has to open one box, the 19th person box, and show that it's empty to prove that the bomb's in one of the other 18 boxes. Furthermore, there's no need for her to show which of the 18 boxes has the bomb. I've got 18 times more work to do to explain my pet theory than Beatrice does for hers. Rip. When a devil's proof exists in the world, it takes a vast amount of effort to argue against it, and there are many cases in which it's impossible to do because of the situation. However, Hempel's Raven turns that problem around and makes it possible to prove things easily. By using Hempel's Raven, various reckless arguments become possible to prove, true or false. For example, let us say I make the proposition all humans except me equals foolish. Normally, I would have to examine all of humanity except myself and show that they are all foolish. However, in reality, it would be impossible to investigate billions of people. It's just the same sort of effort you need to open all 18 boxes. However, by using Hempel's Raven, the contrapositive of that proposition would change it into this. If you, to use your phrase, spin the chessboard around on the claim that all humans except me equals foolish, would have to do nothing more than prove that not foolish equals me. And what do you think that means? As soon as I know the fact that I am wise, I will be able to show it in an instant that every one of the billions of people in the human race is foolish. In less than a second, I could finish proving that the entire human race is more foolish than me. Technically. But also, there is definitely someone smarter than you, so, you know. It is truly the strongest and fastest QED in the world. Ah, yes. Then there's also... They haven't even addressed Occam's razor. Which is, you know, the easiest solution. Once everything's been eliminated, the easiest solution, no matter how improbable, must be correct. I'm surprised he hasn't used that, because really the easiest situation is to deny a witch is that... Oh, well, yeah, because he doesn't want to admit that one of his relatives is it, so he can't use Occam's razor. Because the easiest answer to all of this, if you're going to deny a witch, is that the culprit is a human. And if the culprit's a human, then supposedly it's one of the 18. But you could argue that Beatrice isn't a witch, she's human. If Beatrice isn't a witch, then she has to be human. Ergo, there are 19 people. What a ridiculous argument. It is a very, very convenient move. Not only demons, but gods also use it. When they propose that the blessed equals the servant of a god. The contrapositive is a human is not a servant of God equals he must not be blessed. So in order to prove that servants of God are blessed with divine protection, they only have to bring ill fortune down upon those who don't receive such protection. So by bringing misfortune down upon those who don't believe in them, they prove their blessedness. An enormous cost is required to give humans happiness. However, it takes a lot less to bring humans misfortune. So by using Hempel's Raven, gods are actually giving believers the joy of divine protection for cheap. You demon. It's a demon's argument. That's crazy. It seems we've gone off topic. Let's get back to the point. The move for my counterattack is complete. And now, in response to your claim of the 19th person is the culprit, therefore, the 18 are innocent and the witch doesn't exist. I say therefore, if I can prove that the culprit is not some 19th person, we can be sure that the culprit is either one of the 18 or a witch, right? For a while, I just stood there, shocked, completely forgetting to close my mouth. Just when I thought I'd countered one of their strong points, their counterattack had been this reckless argument that I couldn't possibly have anticipated. Is this going to be impossible after all? To continue denying the witch on an island with no more than 18 people? And still believe in the innocence of those 18 people? Is that just a delusion? Am I just trying to escape reality? Not yet. Don't give up this desperate struggle yet. Who cares about whoever's a raven? They're just trying to confuse me by bringing up weird bits of trivia. I use the devil's proof. Don't feel uncertain about something you used once. Believe in the spear you've drawn, and then forcefully gouge it in. We're still in the opening part of the game. Do you plan to keep thinking on this level? Wait a sec. I want to be sure. I'll admit I talked about a 19th person to keep it simple. But if we're going to use the devil's proof to raise the number of people above 18, then we'd have no way of knowing if there were 10 people, 100 people, or an indeterminate number of people. There's always one more than you assume. Get it? They countered my twisted logic with something even more twisted. So the only thing that could counter that would be an even crazier twisted logic. I can't keep up with you guys anymore. Y'all just spouting whatever you can think of off the top of your head. I see. Even if I somehow prove an alibi for the 19th person. As soon as I do, you'll think up a 20th person and claim they are the culprit. By repeating this endlessly, you would make it so I kept searching for their alibi for all eternity. I see. Just like a demon king summoning a plague of locusts. I wouldn't expect anything less from Kinzo's grandchild. It looks like you've been gifted with a talent in summoning. In short, it's impossible to always prove an alibi for each person X outside of the first 18. How do you like that, Bieto? Now that I know we're having a battle with twisted logic, I won't lose. Oh, how foolish. Who do you think I am? Hi, Butter. I am the Endless Witch. The thought that you could challenge me endlessly is just absurd. Endless control means that I am able to kill endlessly. When your 19th person folds, you will summon in a 20th. And when your 20th person folds, you will summon a 21st. And when your 21st person folds and your 22nd person folds, you will summon a 23rd person, a 34th person, a Jesus Christ person. How many new numbers is that after the 6? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16. How many is... What's a number with 16 zeros? Is that a trillion? $10 quadrillion? Really? Really? A trillion has 12 zeros. Okay, yeah, alright. So this is 10 quadrillion. Cool. So this is 64 quadrillion per person. $64 quadrillion, 3 quadrillion, 5 trillion, 8 billion, 22 million, etc., 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 etc. Jeez. And, my weekend was good, thank you. Did you think you'd have me at your mercy for all eternity? I laugh at infinite regress. The infinite doesn't work against me. Well then, how will you kill my endless? Just try and show me. I have the power to speak the truth in red. Shit, I forgot it. He's like, ah, fuck, I forgot about that. GeekyCon, hello, welcome in. Here it comes. When I speak in red, it will contain absolutely no illusions. If I say once in red that there are no more than 100 people on this island. How am I today? I'm good, thank you. I hope you guys are doing good as well. You'll no longer be permitted to create a 101st person. See, Battler? What truth shall I tell in red this time? Where shall I strike for the kill and force you into hopelessness? Come! Show me your moves. I mean, show me your usual frightened face. Dot, 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 dot. Dot, 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 dot. What? Why are you laughing? I wonder what kind of creepy look I had on my face as I laughed right then. That red sure is scary. Every time it jumps out, I'm driven into the depths of hopelessness. But I've already realized something. There's no need to be overly afraid of the red. You've brought out your trump card again. So, how and for what will Beatrice Summer use the red this time? Oh, what do you mean by that? Suddenly looking so relaxed. Sorry, but I was waiting for you to take out that blood red treasured sword of yours. Let's see, what will you proclaim in red this time? You aren't going to say the culprit was one of those 18 people, are you? Be careful, since that means self-destruction for you, right? That'd be the same as throwing away your own witch theory yourself. In complete resignation. That's right. The red wasn't always a weapon that worked in Beato's favor alone. It was the other way around. I returned from my lunch, aka 2 uranium rods? God damn. If she used it the wrong way, it was dangerous enough that she could bring about her own death. If she used it carelessly and said something that ended up denying herself, that'd be exactly the same as self-destructing. Of course, it'd be sad and difficult for me to accept if you told me in red that one of the 18 was the culprit. No matter who the culprit actually was, I'd definitely have to deal with some tough emotions. But before that, it would mean your defeat. How's the game coming along? They're just pointing fingers at each other at this point. We learned about Hempel's Raven, which is just like another variant of Schrödinger's cat from how it was explained, so... Saying in red that the culprit is a human is equivalent to your proclamation of resignation. If you wanted us to finish each other off in a simultaneous clash, I'd say that's a pretty interesting move. However, this particular battle will end in my victory. Beatrice's red was her true trump card. When that person speaks in red, it's definitely the truth, and no amount of proof or counter-arguments can change that. Until now, she's used that to severely wound me, and each time, the tiny foundation supporting my heart gets split in half. However, if she uses it carelessly, then I can also glean a little information about the truth. In the last game, I used that to my advantage, especially during the chapel's closed room trick, and almost completely got her boxed in at one point. But she was pretty sly herself. She learned from experience, and since then, she started using discretion in the timing of her red. This feeling of tension was almost literally like a battle with real swords. This is a high-level intellectual battle. No, not an intellectual battle. This really is twisted logic. This was the world's craziest and worst battle of twisted logic. How many battles of twisted logic have there been? Okay, now it's time to hear your plan. That's right. To use your Hempel's Raven, first you'll have to confirm in red how many humans there are other than the 18. And after that, if you proclaim in red, then none of the people in this group are the culprit. That's right, that might be a fatal wound to me. I'm surprised that you no longer have even an atom of fear for the red, which once terrified you so much. You're quite resilient. Try taking it out. That treasured sword, that trump card of yours. This time, you might be able to make me surrender with a single stroke, right? Interesting. Would it? Excuse me, I'm yawning. I wouldn't have it any other way. Agitate her. Challenge her. Drive her into a corner to make her speak in red. Of course, her red's always wiping out my only rays of hope. But don't be afraid of that. On this island, overcome with falsehoods and illusions, the only thing I can trust is the information she speaks in red. It's my only way across the chasm of hell. It's my only way across the chasm of hell. Just a single tightrope. A merciless blood-red blade is the only way I can survive. This isn't just walking on a tightrope. It's like literally walking on the edge of a blade. Of course I'm afraid. Because my victory condition is the denial of witches. Then, to use a contrapositive logic, the culprit must be human. But I didn't want to search for a culprit amid the 18. That's what made me stick to a weak position, since I had to claim both that it couldn't be a witch and that it couldn't be one of the 18. Last time, I was unable to understand that. So that's where she hit me, leaving me tattered and defeated. But that's okay. Let her hit me. Let her attack. No problem. Someone said it once in an old sword-fighting movie. A good fortress has one and only one intentional weak point. The enemy would gather there. They would be lured there, and that would be where the actual battle took place. As long as I understood my weak points, and as long as she wanted to attack those weak points, it was as if I were luring her into launching an attack there. Gauge the distance between us with care, retreating step by step. Make them move forward. The more she recklessly flourished that red, the more chances I would get to strike back. Don't be afraid of the red. Keep her cornered so that she'll have no choice but to refute me with the red. No matter how oppressively she speaks in red. That's right, the red itself is the same as fresh blood leaking from her wounds. So, what's wrong? First of all, why don't you tell me how many people are on this island total? If you don't, your raven can't cut me up. How surprising that you can be this desperate and yet this difficult. One cannot make light of someone putting their life on the line, no matter what the era. It's no surprise that you're Kinzo's grandchild. The more cornered you are, the bolder you become. Ronov cleared his throat. It appears to be a stalemate. That black tea I worked so hard to make is getting cold, milady. Ronov, who was supposed to be her ally, roguishly rushed her into making her next move. Bieto probably thought she'd managed to smile back and appear confident, but she couldn't hide the sweat building up on her forehead. By now, she had completely lost the confident feeling that had allowed her to turn her nose up at her worthless opponent. Of course, she probably wouldn't be cornered by something like this. She's just being cautious. Until now, I've been inexperienced. I didn't know how to fight, and I wasn't strong enough to be her opponent. However, now that we've reached the third game, she's realized that I'm starting to become more skilled. And she's grown more cautious, thinking every move over carefully. Sure, that's just fine, Beatrice. Sorry to keep you waiting. Are you happy now? Now it's starting to get interesting, huh? I don't know if that cackle is appropriate with that image. Battler! This isn't getting us anywhere. Then should we get to the heart of the matter and go with the usual? Oh, the usual, you say. Then by all means. If I don't hear you say that, I guess I just won't feel like starting. The first move was mine. Here I go, Bieto. Repeat it. On this island, there are only 18 people. If I hear you say this in red, I'll have no choice but to suspect one of the 18. I won't be able to say a 19th person did it, so all doors will be closed to me. However, I believe the culprit definitely isn't one of the 18. There's no way any of those 18 could commit such brutal murders. I'll say it again. Repeat it. On this island, there are only 18 people. I refuse. I won't say why. I'd avoided what would have been the worst red for me. If she'd repeated that, I'd be faced with those two worst choices of accepting the witch or suspecting one of the 18. The sound of such a bob? OST for this game is just phenomenal, truly. Like last time, all over again. But Bieto had it proclaimed my ultimate and greatest weakness in red. She refused to repeat it, even though there was no reason for her not to strike. Even though there was a weakness she should have been drooling at. She had it sliced me up with red by using that move, which should have been as good as forking a rook and the king. This was a big sign of my advantage. That's right. The culprit isn't one of the 18. I won't suspect anyone, since the culprit isn't a witch either. It means a 19th person exists on this island. And that's you. Person who, as grandfather's mistress of 30 years, has been secretly living in a hidden mansion in the forest for a long, long time. The human Beatrice. That's right. You aren't a witch or anything like it. You're just a human who's been living on this island and hiding for several decades. Did you just call me the endless witch who has lived for over 1,000 years a human? For a while, Beatrice continued to laugh unpleasantly and gloatingly, or maybe spitefully. Are you ready? I'll keep going. Again, repeat it. There are 19 people or more on this island. Beatrice fell silent once again. She'd probably remain extremely cautious as long as confirming the number of humans on this island might give her some large disadvantage, depending on the situation. The red had already become a foothold for my counterattacks. Now that we know this, it makes the red very risky for the witch. But if she couldn't repeat this, her Hempel's Raven wouldn't be effective. To break my devil's proof, she would need to settle the existence and number of people outside the 18 in red. That's right. She couldn't break the existence of a 19th person unless she uses red. I've closed Bieto in, giving her no choice but to speak in red. There really is a way to fight in this witch's game. It's okay to refuse. If you can't say it in red, that means there's a total of 18 plus X people on this island. That X is a pretty massive piece to lose on your first move, right? After all, from now on, all of the tricks that were impossible for the 18 can be explained with a human X who isn't in that group. That huge piece can break open all the rooms you said were closed because everyone had an alibi. It was just how close, it was just like how a chess bishop can cut a thin line through enemy forces as long as there's a slight gap. It could only be effectively used on squares of the same color, but it was very good at controlling territory on the board. It looked like Bieto also noticed her current plight. She couldn't just let such an important piece go, especially this close to the beginning of the game. If she pulled out her red treasured sword, it wouldn't be that difficult to save herself from this. But Bieto was completely aware that I was expecting it. She was afraid that a careless red truth might end up strangling her own neck. Because, in the first place, a witch is something that ought to be denied in red. Belief. Don't doubt. Witches don't exist. Something like that can't exist in this world. There can only exist in the valley between truths. They have a fragile existence, curled up in these cracks, frantically trying to protect themselves. I don't know why I decided to start going like this is a Disney musical, but I was feeling it. They can only barely exist like a mirage by surviving on falsehoods and illusions. In other words, the red, which only witches can use, is the reality that might easily deny their very being. The more they brandish their red words, the more they began to lose bit by bit that crack in truth inside which they can endure. That's why they don't want to use red words and carelessly lose that crack in truth, which is based on fuzzy information. That's because they understand that they're gradually being cornered. Whoops. Of course, that bastard will never admit it. Because if she did, it'd be the same as admitting that she's something that can't exist in this world, like an imaginary number. Don't be afraid. Stay strong. I know that she's the one who's really been pierced to the bone. After all, her red treasured sword can't be used without a lot of preparation. What's wrong? I'll say it again. Repeat it. There are 19 people or more on this island. I refuse. At the end of Beato's worrying, she took a single deep breath and quietly announced her refusal. I thought she'd use it, but Beato refused to speak in red, even though it would cost her victory in the opening part of the game. You refused, which means that from now on, I can create as many fictional character X's outside of the 18 as I want. Do as you wish. I have refused to repeat what you have told me. Isn't that enough for now? The reason for my refusal is... No, I won't tell you yet. Anyway, you'll know soon enough. Still acting tough, I see. Choosing not to use the red is another way of using it. You called it my red treasured sword. A pleasant metaphor. I will use it too. A treasured sword is at its best when it's sheathed. In fact, there are times I can instill even more fear because it's sheathed. That's right. As I fight, I always have to keep in mind whether you might spin everything around with those red words. It's some pretty serious pressure. But Oh, sorry. And there are also times when you make things pretty tough by refusing to repeat after me. Simon does not say. Those times I can't tell if you can't repeat because my guess was right, or if you're just misleading me and letting me flounder about. Well, don't give her any ideas. If you think of it that way, yeah. Yeah, it's a sheathed, treasured sword. So what? If I'm going to push you off a cliff anyway, best to let you climb a bit higher first. We have still barely begun. Much is left to come. I'll resign from this challenge. Go and get drunk on your faint victory for now. But only for now. Dun, dun, dun! Alright. Uno momento. I am gonna take a quick break. We're getting close to when we would usually stop, but I am really, 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 really hungry. So I'm gonna run and get a snack. I'm so hungry, it's making it hard to concentrate. So that, we can't have that. Just making sure the audio's going. Okay, I will be right back real quick. Uno momento. One sec. One sec. Hello. Alrighty. Onwards. With a snack in hand. Practically speaking, the early part of the game ended with her being a sore loser. Welcome back. Thank you. Even so, I couldn't relax my guard at all. The tension didn't fade one bit until I was greeted by the sound of Ronav's applause. Spectacular, Battler Summer. Perhaps you have started this game with an advantageous development. Who knows? I still don't know whether I've taken a piece by my move or whether she guided me into taking it. After all, knowing you. I'm being led into a trap, and that clapping is just you mocking me openly, right? How could you think that? I am innocently celebrating your ability, which has enabled you to take one shot at Milady, even though it is only the first round. In any event, Milady is a person who is quick to become arrogant. I believe that a little encouragement such as this can be good medicine every once in a while. That butler of yours sure has a vicious tongue. He does, doesn't he? Sometimes he ticks me off as well. My, how incredibly rude of me. Well then, milady, Battler Sama, how would you like some more black tea? The game has still barely begun. Please allow me to prepare all the tea and snacks needed to adorn this game. I ask that you continue your game without any reservations. I will. Let's move forward. Now is when it really starts. Very well. Let us advance the clock. Ronald, black tea, please. Certainly. How about a cookie? I don't need one. Give it to Beelzebub to keep her happy. Remain silent for now. While listening to the sound of the demon butler pouring tea, the witch closed her eyes slightly and fell silent. For some time she was deeply lost in thought, but eventually a roguish glint came into her eyes. Very well. Why don't I inform you now as to why I refused to speak in red during that first move? What? Bring it on. Show me what you've got. Show me your moves. Yes, that piece really was big enough that I'd hate to lose it. It may be hasty, but allow me to make my move. I won't use the red, but from here on, Rosa will explain on my behalf. Listen. Rosa, huh? Of course, I think the same way. Rosa does too, right? Rosa? Huh? Ah, sorry. Me too. I think that too. What's wrong, Rosa-san? You've been really quiet for a while now. Are you feeling sick? From the beginning, Rosa had never been one to cut in on the siblings' fights. But even so, she seemed unmotivated and had said almost nothing during this night's conference. The whole time she had hung her head and appeared to be thinking of something else. You've been in a daze for a while now. Do you think you can protect the inheritance like that? You're also the mother of your child, so get a stronger hold of yourself. I'm sorry. Did you wake up really early in the morning? If you feel sick, you shouldn't overdo it. The beds in our guest house have already been prepared. How about taking a rest? I will guide you. No, I'm fine. Thank you. What is it? Is there something you're worrying about? No, not really. Is that so? It feels like your mind has been elsewhere this whole time. I wonder if that has anything to do with what we've been talking about? At those words, everyone stared at Rosa together. As if, in response, Rosa's shoulders quivered. Apparently, Kyrie's guess hadn't been wrong. Rosa couldn't deny it either. No, She swallowed whatever it was she had been trying to say and went silent again. Of course, the other siblings also began to realize that something about her appearance was different from usual. What is it? You've been weird for a while. Did you think of something? We all just swore to remain united, didn't we? Don't hold back worrying by yourself. We said we'd talk. Rosa, tell us. The men pressured her one after the other, and Rosa confessed resignedly and nervously. The atmosphere made it seem as though she was confessing to some modest prank, which had inadvertently brought about a serious situation. No, this mistress of grandfather's, this Beatrice, I was wondering if she's still alive. Huh? Isn't it obvious that she's alive? After all, she was able to send that letter to us. Whether she's in good health or not is a different story, though. The woman in that portrait must be getting up there in age by now. I'd say she's healthy. People who are crafty when it comes to money stay healthy no matter how old they get. Her evil plan might even be the best rejuvenating agent. Ha ha ha! She shouldn't be alive. Huh? What did you just say? Beatrice is dead. I killed her. Oh. What did you say? What do you mean, Rosa? But is it really me who killed her? Though I did bring her to her place like that. No, I did kill her after all. I tried to make myself believe it was a dream. But it wasn't really a dream, was it? Which makes this a letter from Beatrice's ghost. It was so sudden that everyone was lost for words. Rosa kept on talking, unable to stop, holding her head as her hair flew all about. Calm yourself, Rosa-san. I have absolutely no idea what's going on. Already dead? What do you mean? I think it means two things. First, its literal meaning. And second, it backs up our earlier guess. Which means Rosa has met with Beatrice, right? I've never heard Rosa mention anything like this. Why would she talk to y'all? You all bullied her relentlessly. Why the heck would she ever confide in you? Rosa, when was it? When could you have possibly met Beatrice? Long ago. Long ago. We just moved over to the island and I was still young. It wasn't my fault. It's not like I killed her. Calm down. Nobody's blaming you for anything, right? First, drink some water, okay? Natsuhi-san, the pitcher, please. Yes. Here you go, Rosa-san. Please calm yourself. They almost seem like a caring family in this moment. Until Rosa was able to calm her ragged breathing, no one was able to speak a word. Ooh, what a twist. So someone did indeed know about the mistress this whole time. I guess it makes sense now that I think about it. These images we've been seeing are nothing like the mansion we know, so. Beatrice, I have been calling to you for some time now. Did you not hear me? Were you? My apologies. I was lost in thought. Forgive me. The weather is pleasant. This is horribly awkward. Yes, I can understand how the weather has stolen your heart. Will you have your black tea here? Who am I? I will bring some tea now. Wait here for a while. Forget about the tea. Talk with me. Very well. Kinzo had used the excuse of getting black tea to try and interrupt the conversation for the time being, but his attempt had been very transparent. I sat in a garden chair and beckoned Kinzo to do the same. Kinzo sat down heavily, exaggerating his age. For a while, we sat and appreciated the silence. Who am I? Until today, no one has answered this question. For some reason, everyone averts their gaze and evades me. I have known you for a long time. I think of you as my best friend, even as a father. That is why I want so much for you to tell me. You should know who I am. Why are you worried about something like that? You are Beatrice, the master of this mansion. Is that not so? What more could you possibly want to know? I do not know. That's an unusual expression on her. She's actually looking vulnerable. What's this? Don't you even understand what it is you want to know? How mysterious. In one's youth, there are times when one wants to play in the maze of thought that has no exit. Perhaps that's what your worries are. Kinzo laughed as though it was a trivial matter. However, I couldn't help but feel that this behavior was another attempt to force me to stop any further questioning. So you won't tell me, after all. There is nothing to tell. You are Beatrice. Isn't that more than enough? No, that's not it. What I wish to know is not my name. I want to know who I am. Who am I? What am I? How long have I been here, and how long will I have to continue my days here? I really should bring some black tea. Don't you think it's a waste of all this fine weather? Yeah, real smooth, Kinzo. What's this all about? It looks like it's probably the story of your past, right? Something like that. To think I would go this far back. Looks like you had some pretty deep worries even then. Wondering who you were. That is to be expected. At the time, I was unable to understand who I was, or why I was alive. Well, in puberty, everyone's captured by those philosophical worries at least once, wondering what meaning there is in their life. Doesn't this just prove you had a charming period like that at one point? I'd been in that mansion since the time of my birth, and I lived only inside the mansion. Of course, I went out into the garden, but the area around the mansion was surrounded by a very tall fence. I was unable to leave through it, and I was told severely that I mustn't leave. I could walk freely throughout the mansion and the garden, but outside of that, not once was my desire to take just one step outside of my own accord granted. What do you mean by that? Are you trying to say that as far back as you can remember, you were always a bird in a cage? That's what I thought at the time. After all, as soon as I became aware I was living like that, I didn't even think to question it. Who in the world are you? That's it. That is what I also hoped to know. I'm sure you'll say something like I wasn't a human, I was a witch, right? No, that's not true. That isn't true yet. Or should I say that was once the case. I was constructed by Kinzo, a human built by a human. No, perhaps I should call it a cage made of flesh. What? This is getting weird. You probably won't believe it anyway, but listen first. I was a mighty witch who had lived for 1,000 years. But at one point, I was summoned by Kinzo, and by that hidden art, I was bound as his prisoner for eternity. Very serious revelations unfolding, yeah. They dropping the real lore now. Hi, Art! Never heard that before. From what we hear in the Ushinomiya family, you were summoned by grandfather. Made something like a devil's contract with him. And gave him the gold. This woke you up? Like, what is GD saying? Crazy stuff is happening, man. You're so hungry? Mood. I took a break like 20 minutes ago to get a snack because I am also starving. Take care of yourself. Indeed, that is correct. Then I was supposed to vanish until the contract was complete. But, well, popular women have it rough. By some turn of events, Kinzo fell in love with me. Grandfather's nearsightedness must have gotten pretty bad. But the stigmatism, too. To fall in love with you, of all things. Damn. Huh. Well, to me, there could be nothing more bothersome. He displayed that fearsome power and rooted me to this place. He said I wouldn't be freed until I nodded my head in agreement. Such an overbearing man. Men, am I right? Isn't that awesome? Everyone knew grandfather was obsessed with the occult, but who would have guessed he had the power to root down the great witch Beatrice? Huh, ridiculous. Who'd believe such a weird story? As I thought, you don't believe? All I believe is the fact that you lived in this hidden mansion in the middle of the forest. You are the 19th person on Rokenjima, right? Indeed. Just as you imagine, this is deep within the forest of Rokenjima. A hidden mansion, not to be found from the outside world. Its name is Kuwadorian, 9 Birds Retreat. Once again, Kinzo, what kind of nonsense are you doing with kanji to get that? Kuwadorian. Oh, okay, yeah. So it's not as crazy as it sounds, it's just, yeah. So it's 9, feather, bird, and then... Is that dragon? Won't come until 9:40. Yikes, that sucks. Retreat. Okay. That kanji I actually hadn't learned yet. Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Last facility just closed. Yeah, I'm gonna be here for a while. Oof. How's the game been going? Pretty good. I mean, we're getting the massive lore bombs now. Come to think of it, I heard the guest house's real name was Toraian. Toraian. Visitors retreat? Also, Tora is tiger? I see, the naming sense is similar. So does the mansion itself have a name then? Hi, Pep. Hi. Being distracted by cat. The lore bomb barrage that I can't keep up just happened with you and Honkai Star Rail. Ah, yes. Honkai Star Rail really does like to just drop it on you, and then it's like, ah! They're so cute. If only you were a lap cat and I could just pick you up and keep you here. She likes... Pep and Mogu like being close, but neither of them are really lap cats. They're more like, I want to sit on the couch with you, but not on you. So I can't, like, put them in my lap and have them chill with me when I stream or anything like that. So you were grandfather's mistress who lived here in secret. Isn't that right? Mistress isn't the right way to say it. You should probably call it Kinzo's unrequited love. Damn, and he just kidnapped her and locked her up. What a freak. You're squiggling on the couch with your cat? Aw. Oh god, okay. Pep has started licking my hand, therefore I have lost use of one hand. Ah! Girl, girl. You're being so aggressive about it. It was Pep who came over. Sometimes it is Mogu, though. Pep is usually the busybody. Mogu does like to come and chill with me. Like, she's the one that, like, wants to sleep right beside my pillow. But she doesn't bug me when I'm streaming unless she's, like, desperately hungry. Or she's like, Mother, the litter box is super dirty. Clean it. Mother. Your claws are so sharp. Girl. Am I gonna have to cut your nails on stream so you stop clawing me? Is the nail file... Are the clippers close by? No? Yes? Maybe? No? I can't tell. I just cleaned my desk and it's already a mess. Well, I'll find them at some point. that I was shut up inside this hidden mansion. No, that's not quite right. It would be more correct to say that I was shut up in this body. I've got no idea what you said at the end there. It's like, you're really weird now. What are you even saying? We'll just make fun of it and refuse to listen, right? After all, you say you don't believe in witches or magic. If you have no ears to hear what I tell you, saying it would be the pinnacle of foolishness. Oh, there's the nail clippers. Pep, get over here. Yes, hello, girl. Oh, see? I go to grab her to trim her nails so she'll stop scratching me, and she leaves the room finally. God. Oh, no, she's back. Gotcha. I know. I know. Mother is evil. But your claws hurt. I know. Poor little baby. Such a hard life. There you go, you're free. Trim cat nails. Throw cat off lap. Continue stream. I'll decide whether I believe it or not. After all, if I don't ask, the story won't continue. Tell me. Let's hear this story from your past. Very well, you got snacks! Very well. I refused Kinzo when he courted me, but he was not a man to lose heart at something like that. What a guy. You wanted to make me nod my head in agreement, no matter what. You shut me up in this mansion and spent an eternity trying to win my heart. Talk about overbearing. That's called being a stalker. A snack closet? Oh, that's fine. That's fun. Guess no one likes obstinate men, huh? Regardless of whether I responded to his courting or not, having a man so desperate for me was, well, as a woman, it wasn't so unpleasant. Don't say that. Don't encourage them. However, I never accepted his proposal. I tried to find some way to break through his guard, but that barrier was firm, and I couldn't crack it. And then? Not a literal closet, but you called it a closet! After trying to resist in various ways, I eventually reached the conclusion that, to escape from Kinzo's barrier, I would have to throw away this body of flesh. In quotations? You also put titles in quotations. The physical body is a vessel with many restrictions for a magic user. Throw away your body of flesh? What does that mean? It means she died. Something like an out-of-body experience? So is anyone being accused? Actually, no. Beatrice is giving us her background. Like, we're getting the Beatrice lore. Though I will have to stop momentarily, because I can tell this is going to be a big, enormous scene. And I have to stop by 9:30 at the latest, so... However, I am no spirit. Even though I am a witch, in the beginning, I was born with a human's body of flesh. So we're gonna stop now? Probably when the scene transitions. So for me, throwing away that physical body, while it didn't mean the same thing as death, it did require a similar level of resolve. So in other words, you decided that you couldn't be released except by suicide, is that it? It wasn't suicide. It was nothing more than throwing away my body of flesh, of course. Becoming nothing more than a soul is a precarious situation. When the soul leaves its body of flesh, it is constantly exposed to the strong winds of the sun. Oh, not the winds! It was not easy for me to maintain myself and avoid being scattered by them. It was a final measure that I wanted to avoid if I could. However, there was no other way to break through Kinzo's barrier. Anyway, I am an unfettered person. I couldn't stand being kept in a cage until Kinzo's life was over. I couldn't see the stuff Bieto kept going on about and about throwing away her body of flesh as anything more than suicide. Grandfather persistently courted her and escaped from that. She chose her own death? So you're saying you committed suicide? What are you talking about? Is it that you sitting carefree there in the garden chair? That's right. That is the new cage I was given by Kinzo. Cage? You mean this mansion? No. I mean my body relaxing in the garden chair over there. Even though I was so desperate to escape that I became naught but a soul, Kinzo still had no intention of letting me go. Oh, he was a fearsome person. Normally, when the object of one's unrequited love shows that she is willing to die, it should be enough to bring that person to their senses, even if their love has lasted 100 years. Perhaps that's why he even managed to become a sorcerer of sorts. Don't try to confuse me with that incomprehensible witch girl talk. What exactly are you trying to say? That Kinzo didn't let me escape even after I became a soul. Human emotions are terrifying. To think he would be able to exhibit such power, tying down a dead soul, is not something that can be accomplished easily, not even for a magician who specializes in such matters. Because I knew this, Kinzo's fearful magic power shocked me for the first time. Didi, sweet or salty? Salty. Then Kinzo seized my soul and brought me back. However, a cage to hold a seized soul cannot be made from iron or lead. Only one thing remained. What? You aren't gonna say it was a magical cage or something, are you? Wrong. It's that body of flesh over there, just like yours or mine. Only a cage made of flesh and blood can tie a soul down to this world. Kinzo shut my soul up in a cage of flesh built to be exactly like me. So to sum it up, it's like this. Grandfather courted you, so you started to hate it, and you committed suicide. But you weren't clever enough to finish the job? Damn, you really took a roundabout way to say something like that. No, that's wrong. My soul was shut up in the seat of a homunculus, and I was born out of a test tube. Huh? Well, that's crazy! That isn't even possible, right? Kinzo accomplished even the miracle of creating life. And simply to shut my soul up in that cage. That he would show such magical powers simply because of his own love. A thoroughly terrifying person. Okay, it's getting pretty ridiculous. Say whatever you want. I won't believe anything. Just do what you like. What's with this unpleasant attitude? Huh. In the beginning, I showed a little interest, thinking there might be some huge hint hidden here. But the more I ask, the weirder the story starts to get. I get the feeling that even though this is supposed to be a game about denying witches, I'm suddenly being forced to just swallow this story about witches. Sorry, but I don't feel like listening to this anymore. Just keep rambling on to yourself as much as you want. I'll be over here picking at my earwax or something. Wow, you're a dick. When I started acting cold, Bieto seemed unusually discouraged. Of course, her expression was still shameless. But in that really easy to understand expression of hers, I had the feeling I was able to catch a glimpse of loneliness and my failure to find the story of her past interesting. For some reason, that subtle reaction made her seem pitiful. So even though I kept my careless attitude, I decided to cover for her slightly. Damn it, even though she's an irritating witch, I'm still weak against her because her chromosomes are XX. Screw you, Battler. You're as bad as your grandfather. Well, I've got absolutely no desire to believe you, but keep going. Let's have a bit of a story instead of a tea snack. So you treat the story of my past like little more than a snack. Do you expect me to just casually tell you when you insult me like that? After I made fun of her, Bieto reacted a little sensitively. It looked like even though making fun of people was her specialty, she was horrible at being made fun of by others. Just then, my black teacup suddenly made a sound, surprising me. Milady's soul was seized and breathed into her cage of new life. In other words, Milady received life as a human once more. Before I'd realized it, the demon butler had taken my cup and was adding more black tea to it. Ronov, enough of that. This person had just said it was too ridiculous to be worth listening to. Well, he's too ridiculous to be worth talking to. I'm baking some new cookies right now. Until they're ready, I thought you might find the story of Milady's past to be a perfect substitute for a snack. Didn't I say that's enough talking about me? Such unpleasant people, the lot of you. I'm leaving. Ronov, serve our food and then go. No pointless chit-chat with Battler. Certainly, I will make an effort. Bye! Short temper peculiar to women? which I didn't really understand, took hold of her, and she turned her body into gold butterflies, scattered and disappeared. God, this just reminds me of this clip I saw from a K-drama. That was like... Oh, how exactly did the wording go? But it was like, why is it that when women legitimately have a reason to be angry, men always blame it on as being on your period or something like that? Like, you have a legitimate reason to be angry, and they're like, oh, you silly woman being a woman. After that, only Ronov and the scent of black tea were left. I feel kind of bad, like I pissed her off or something. You did! As long as you're aware of it, I need not say nothing more. Wait a sec. Weren't you the one who struck the finishing blow? My, what could you mean by that? How would you like some sugar and milk? Just milk will be fine. And some tea snacks would be nice too. Well, it will be a bit longer before the cookies are ready. Did you say you already got something to use in place of a snack? Oh, so you'll accept the story of Beatrice's past from him, but not her. Get out of here! If you will listen quietly, I will continue the story. We will throw this man in a river. They will never find him. Alright. This seems like the best spot to stop for now. So, here we go. And I'm gonna save that. I do believe we have it on the schedule that we're playing UMINEKO again on the weekend. Tomorrow will be Ace Attorney Investigations. Let's see. Triple check, triple check. Do 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 do. Yes, indeedy. Okay. So yeah, for the rest of the week, we've got Ace Attorney Investigations tomorrow. Then Atelier Yumi on Thursday. Friday, we've got No Sleep for Kaname Date. Speaking of terrible men, but he's still better than literally the entire cast of UMINEKO. And then Saturday, it's Persona 4. And then Sunday, we're back for UMINEKO. And then it'll be a new schedule. Alrighty. Pet Pep and Moku for you, of course, and give them a box they fit in. There's plenty of boxes that they fit in. They just like to chew on them more than sit in them. They like the crunch. Munch, yup. There's a product I saw on some YouTube short or something where it's supposed to be like indestructible cardboard or something meant specifically for cats that like to chew cardboard. I need to check that out again. Cardboard tasty? They like the texture, and I mean, I guess it makes sense because, you know, in the wild, they would hunt prey and crunch the bones and stuff, so I guess it makes sense. Alright, who are we gonna raid? Let's see. Money mo. Get your tuck up at the toe. If your arms let him go. Money mo. We will go see Hime. It's been a little bit since we've seen Hime. I say, but then Twitch says, you've raided them twice in the past 30 days. I guess we raid her every other week. Fair enough. Alrighty, so here is raid. And here's Discord. If we've got any lurkers who want to keep up with us when we're not streaming. For now, that is gonna be it from me also. Because I know Zexu was around. Might still be around. In the game in the game Hime is played. You get hunted by a spider, and I know Zexu has arachnophobia. So if Zexu or anyone else who has arachnophobia wants to hop off before the raid, totally understandable. Everyone else all aboard! Alrighty. That's gonna be it from me. If it's daytime where you are, have a wonderful rest of your day. And if it's nighttime, have a great rest when you head on off to bed. Until next time, take care of yourself. Wash your face, brush your teeth, eat a good food. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye! Bye-bye-bye-bye!